A couple of you are doing flames. I thought I'd do a very quick down and dirty flame demo. You're going to have to imagine the logs in the grate, but trust me, they'll be there. I'm going to go into Adobe Illustrator, and I have drawn in Adobe Illustrator basically an inner flame and an outer flame. We all remember from science class how this works. The hotter the flame, so in the middle it's bright blue and then little white corona around it. And then the further out you go, the more orange it becomes. We'll tackle that in a minute. But let me just grab this. I'm going to grab the outer flame, copy it. And if you really wanted to go wild and draw all these different pieces, you could do what we did in class on Monday. You could create a layered Illustrator file, save it out as a PSD, open it up in Photoshop, and then copy the artboard over. No problem. But let's say, for the sake of whatever, that we're just going to do it in two pieces. Let me grab this, copy, paste, always as a smart object. Okay, so now that it's here, we can start to play around a little bit. So some things that we can do with our layers menu. I could call this yellow flame, blue inner flame. So I could play with the opacity. Before I do that though, I think I'm going to make a layer mask. So I'm going to come up here to my selection tools. I'll just grab the magic wand. So there's a selection of the yellow flame. There's a bunch of ways I can do this, but here's one. I'll come up here to modify, select modify, and I'll feather. And I'll feather it by 12 pixels. And with the feathered selection, I'll create a layer mask. You can kind of see the soft edge. I didn't feather it enough. Let's go back. I'll triple that. Okay. Now you can see the feather. And again, I'll click the layer mask button. There I go. So now I've got this nice little feather. I could go in with my paintbrush. I'm going to get a nice tiny paintbrush, and maybe I'll see if I have, there we go. I'll paint in some more kind of variation on the flame. I'm going really fast here, but you get the idea. And then I can change the opacity. I can change the blend mode. Maybe I'll use one of these. These here, from overlay to hard mix. If you're dealing with something that's light against a dark background, sometimes these are the nicest blend modes you can use. I'll work my way through. I think I'll do hard light. And now that I've got this, I could even duplicate the yellow flame, throw away that layer mask so it's just a yellow flame. I'll bring it down under the other yellow flame. I'll make it way larger and way fatter. And it's a smart object, so I can go up to my filter and go up to my blur, my Gaussian blur, and blur that out. And then really, really dial back that opacity. And then when I turn the other one on, see, I've got that kind of glow going on. Maybe I like it, maybe I don't. I have to kick it around the room a couple of times. So hang on one second. I made that a little too big. So for the inner part, let's do it a different way. Let's use the gradient tool. The gradient tool works pretty much the way it works in Illustrator. I'm going to go get a layer mask. I'll go get the gradient tool. It's a responsive tool, so the controls are all up here. I'm going to do, so this is a line gradient. This is a radial gradient. I want to gradate out from the center of this piece. So I'll come right here. I'm on my layer mask. I'm in black and white. I'll start to pull. Oops, look at that. The gradient is in the wrong direction. I want the middle to be blue and the outer edges to be light. Have no fear. up here, there's a little button that says reverse. So I'll undo what I did. I'll go get the gradient tool again. Make sure the reverse button is clicked. I'm going to grab the radial gradient again. Again, I'm going to be on this mask. Oops. And as I pull out, you can kind of see it kind of happen. And this one, I don't even have any kind of blend mode or opacity. I'm just using the opacity that the feathering that I'm putting on the layer mask. And then if I wanted to, I can make another copy. I'm gonna put my finger on the shift key so I get that, squeeze it in, squeeze it down. And so you can kind of see that I'm building this up. Maybe I want this to be orange and I want the outer flame to be another color. If I want that, if I go in right now and I edit this color, if I edit my smart object, if I turn this orange, all the copies that I make of it will turn orange. Let me get rid of the original file. So watch what I'm going to do. Layer, smart objects, new smart object via copy. So now this yellow flame is not a direct copy of the original yellow flame. It's a smart object via copy, which means that I can now go into this kind of outer flame and change the color, and they both won't change color. I have essentially unlinked them from each other, so now I can go and deal with them. All right, this is starting to look like something. And once I get this, once I put a fair amount of time into this, so all of these layers comprise this flickering flame that I have. Finger on the shift key, grab them all, layer, smart object, convert to smart object. And you'll notice that I lost my blend mode when I converted this to a smart object. So I'll go back. By the way, you can get some really nice effects if you kind of move on in. I think I'll go with hard light, and then I can duplicate it. I can move it over. I can. It's you notice that it's going edge to edge. That's because there's a layer mask that stretches from the edge to the edge. That's why this object is so large. I can come in here. I can go to transform, flip it horizontally. I can make another copy. I can put it over here. And I worked with an individual flame. There's nothing to say that you couldn't draw an entire line of flames in Illustrator if you wanted to. You're just kind of using that vector file as a base, and then you're making up the whole piece out of other things. You know, maybe this blue is too dark. Maybe I need to go in and edit that. Watch what happens. If I double click and I go into my blue inner flame and I say, you're a little dark, blue inner flame. I think now I'm back in Illustrator. I'm going to make this a little bit lighter so it's not quite so aggressive. And I hit save, and I hit save again. It's a smart object inside a smart object. So I'll hit save again, and I want to save it. And you'll notice that they've all changed now because Photoshop recognizes these objects as one object. If you want one that's a different color, if I want to change the color altogether, I have to go in and say new smart object via copy. This one now is not linked to this group. And so if I go into this one, because I did that construction through the pull down, now I can go in hit save, go back to the other blue inner flame. Oops, sorry. Oh, see, I changed one, you change them all. All for one and one for all. So I hit save. And you can see this one now, because it's not the same link, because I did new smart object via copy. If I want them all to be linked together, I'm just going to duplicate them here with the new, I'm going to drag this down and I'll copy the layer. Or the other way to do that is to, where is it? It's in here somewhere. Duplicate layer. It's right here at the top. Same difference. Same exact difference. And so after a while, the transparency kind of starts to, you know, it's got a beat. You can dance to it. You can work it up and work it down and cover things and uncover things. And then there's nothing stopping you. Stick with me. Once I get all of these pieces together, nothing's stopping me from making these all into a smart object. Notice I lost my transparency again. I'll go back to hard light. I'm making another copy and bringing it over here. And so in the time it takes to make this video, we have a crackling fire. All right, let me know if you have questions.